You're true.
Ah, there we go.
It's me. Okay. All right.
All
Okay,
right.
folks. Um, right. It's a little later than we expected, but the good news is we can do this. Um, well, hello everyone and welcome and thank you for staying with us through our trials and tribulations. I'm so very glad you have joined the Friends of San Pedro Valley Park's Natural Sciences series. I'm Mila Stroganoff, Programs Director and Field Trips Director for the Friends, and your host tonight. Can you believe the wonderful weather we have been having today? Hope you've joined us with either a cup of tea or coffee, or perhaps some after dinner brandy. And J.R. Blair has kindly agreed to give us a travel log of his trips through Costa Rica and Colombia, some of the national parks in the countries. I enjoy travel logs. It takes a great deal less effort seeing and hearing all about things in faraway places while comfortably ensconced in a chair at home. I'm certain you will enjoy and learn a lot this evening. At the end of tonight's lecture, we will have a Q&A session and we'll take some questions and read some comments. I don't know how much time we'll have because there has been this delay, but we'll take a few. And yes, as you could tell, we are indeed recording this lecture and it'll be up in a couple of days unless there's some complications with the cloud business. So the Friends website is friendsofsanpedrovalleypark.org. And while I have your attention, consider becoming a member if you're not a member and supporting the programming. And then I should let you know, I think it's important to let you know that on Saturday, November the 15th at 7 p.m., Maddie Schwartz from the San Francisco Bay Bird Observatory will be joining us and discussing the western snowy plover that she has been very busy working with the past couple of years. So please join us on November 15th, Saturday, 7 p.m., our usual time. And now our speaker this evening. J.R. Blair is well known to us, is a wonderful volunteer to the Friends of San Pedro Valley Park, is an extremely knowledgeable naturalist, and has a devoted following for a great many reasons. He received his bachelor's degree at Evergreen State College in Olympia in Washington State and obtained his master's degree at San Francisco State University. He has served a 2-year term as president of the Mycological Society of San Francisco. He was fungus chairperson for 5 years, and I believe he's going to be chairperson again. Yes, or at least ID chairperson.
ID, yeah.
ID person. And so he was a lecturer of biology at San Francisco State University for 21 years and director of the university's Sierra Nevada field campus for 11 years until his retirement in December 2020. But as we well know, scientists never retire. Naturalists never retire. So he continues to teach at the field campus every summer, and he leads great nature science walks in San Pedro Valley Park and is an excellent birder to boot. And we heard all about his Antarctica trip. So, JR, take it away, please.
Thank you very much, Mila, and thank you all for your patience. I really apologize for that snafu, and I will try to get through all of the slides in a timely manner. So this happened in January 2025, and let's see, there we go. So this was a trip that I did with a colleague from San Francisco State who has been doing student trips for many years. Many of those trips she would take to Europe, but she also added one of these to Costa Rica. Now, when I was working, I never felt like I had time to join her, but I finally did this last January. So my wife and I hopped on a plane and flew south. Now this trip, by the way, a few slides to show you on the way. So this is Belize, and that's the Great Barrier Reef that is found on the Caribbean coast of Belize. And here's another one here. This is a volcano in Nicaragua. Very cool place to see. Very cool to see a volcano from a plane. Anyway, this trip was everything included. So the transportation, accommodations, and meals, special events, all of these things were included in the trip. And this is really the first trip of that sort that my wife and I had taken. This is coming into the capital of Costa Rica, San Jose, and you can see that it's jungle mostly, even though it's at a high elevation. So it's high elevation jungle habitat with ranches and residences and so on scattered here and there throughout the jungle. This is the city of San Jose coming in, surrounded by mountains. So let me give you a little brief overview of the way that Costa Rica looks. It has two mountain ranges, the Cordillera de Talamanca, which runs here in the southern part of Costa Rica, and the Cordillera de Guanacaste up in the northern part. The capital city, San Jose, is located in what is called the Central Plateau or the Central Valley of Costa Rica. So it's a high elevation, but not the highest of elevations. Bogotá, which I will show you a little bit later, is much higher than San Jose. Also notice that Costa Rica has two coastlines. So it has the Caribbean coast and it has the Pacific coast. Now, I'll show you the specific locations that we traveled to, but for the most part, we spent almost all of our time on the Pacific coast, except for a little bit of time that we spent in San Jose, and mostly in the central to southern part of the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. So we started off in San Jose. We hopped on the bus. This is a big old bus. There were about 24 of us on the bus, including my friend, who is a colleague at San Francisco State, a lecturer there, and the bus driver, of course, that's important. And we had a Costa Rican guide. Sadie is her name. I'll show you a photograph of her a little bit later. And everyone else were participants. Now, most of the participants were either students or of college student age. There was a small family that came along, a man with his 3 grown children, and another lecturer. But Annie and I were the oldest. We were considered the abuelos of the trip, the grandparents of the trip. There I am loading our luggage onto and giving it to the bus driver. So our first stop was sort of an impromptu stop. In the middle of the circle there, you can see a river. That's the Rio Tarcoles. And the Rio Tarcoles is a big river that, as you can see, as use my cursor here, so you can see this river here. It drains much of the western part of the highlands of Costa Rica. And our guide had found out about this relatively inexpensive boat tour that we could take to go see cocodrilos, the crocodiles. And this was our first thing that we saw there, the first naturalist experience.
You can take a slow-mo video.
So you can see those are leafcutter ants. Now, many of you may be familiar with the idea that even though it appears that they are vegetarians, that they're herbivores, and that they're eating those leaves. It turns out that they're actually feeding those leaves to a fungus, and then the fungus is consuming the leaves and forming mycelium, and then the ants are eating that mycelium. There it is again. Okay. This is a black spiny tailed iguana. And these were really common. There were quite a few. This is a small one, from snout to tip of the tail is only a couple of feet there. This was us on the boat. There's some of the students, and there's Heather, this is my colleague who set up the trip. And you can see a big old crocodile right there. That was the biggest one that we saw on the trip. Now, I have to say that the guide and the boat driver of this vessel was personally familiar with all of the crocodiles, pretty much knew where they would be, and the crocodiles pretty much were familiar with the boat and maybe his voice even, I'm not sure. But they seem to be a little bit tame, I would say. So we were able to get pretty close to them. And again, this is not an alligator. This is a crocodile, American crocodile. And this is the boat driver, and he was having a little tete-a-tete with this buddy here. And there we go. Pretty crazy. None of us volunteered. None of the people in the boat volunteered to do that. Leave it to the boat driver. We had a few co-pilots on the boat. This is a great egret. We also saw lots of other birds. This is a bare-throated tiger heron. This is called a tricolored heron. This is a caracara called a yellow-headed caracara. It's related to falcons, but they're mostly scavengers. This is a neotropic cormorant, and I'm not sure you can see, but if you can check out the beautiful turquoise color of its eye, really a beautiful, beautiful color. This is a wood stork that's flying over. And this is a magnificent frigate bird. And they are indeed magnificent, although this one seems to be missing some tail feathers. And then this is a common blackhawk. All of these we saw on the Rio Tarcoles. So from there, we went to a place called Playa Hermosa, and just south of the city of Jaco. I think that there are actually many Playa Hermosas in Costa Rica. It means beautiful beach. And there are lots of those. And I think there are lots of places who call themselves the Playa Hermosa, El Playa Hermosa. That part of the Pacific coast is a big destination for surfers. So we saw surfers there every day. But they want you to slow down, despacio, and have these wonderful signs to let you know to do that. From there, we went to, while we were staying in Playa Hermosa, we took a bus ride the second day to basically the middle day. So that was our first night away from San Jose, was Playa Hermosa. We stayed there 2 nights. In the middle time, we went to the Parque Manuel Antonio. Now, it's a beautiful place. Lots of great trails and beautiful Pacific Ocean breezes and clouds and water and all that. But there are a lot of people there. It was a very, very crowded place, especially toward the entrance where there was a beach. And there were some other denizens, if you will, of the playa. There is a white-faced capuchin monkey, and they were everywhere. There were lots of them hanging out, waiting for little bits of food that would drop from picnics and other touristy kinds of activities. So they were all over the place. There were also coatimundis, or coatis, short. Lots of those. This fellow here, casually strolled through the throngs of people and then climbed up in his tree and took a nap. I assumed to waiting until the park closed, and then he could go ahead and help himself to the leftover foods. This is a relative of our raccoons. And there's another black-tailed spiny iguana. This one a bit bigger than the other one that I photographed. Those things can get up to be about 6 or 7 feet long from snout to tip of tail. This one is probably about 4 feet long, something like that. This is another kind of a lizard. This is called an ameiva, Ameiva. Those of you who are herpetologists out there may know of the ameivas. And beautiful sunset on the ocean, the surfers and the tourists. Very beautiful place. Well, then we hopped in the bus and we took off, headed south from there. That thing that looks like it's some sort of effigy hanging in the middle of the scene. That's, I think, a good luck charm that was from our bus driver, is hanging in the windshield. I mostly wanted to show you this photograph because you can see on both sides of the road here palm trees. Those are coconut. Sorry, not coconut palms. Those are palm oil plantations. And these are everywhere in Costa Rica. And if you're familiar with palm oil plantations, just in general, it's a bit scary thing because they are basically replacing the native habitats that are in these areas. Okay. So now we're going down to, we drove down to go to Bahia Drake, or Drake Bay, if you will, and the Parque Corcovado, which is on the Osa Peninsula. Now, this is the Osa Peninsula right here, in the extreme southwest corner of Costa Rica. It is not easy to get there. And in fact, the only way to do that is by boat. Now, this is a little motorboat this one's smaller than the one that we were in. So we could fit all of us in there, except for the bus driver. He didn't come with us, but there were 23 of us packed into this boat. This one's smaller. This would probably hold a dozen people or something like that, but similar idea. And then we hopped in that boat in the river Sierpes, Rio Sierpes, and we hopped in that boat and took off. And here's what it's like a little bit. There was no despacio with this boat. It pretty much took off. Anyway, that took us about an hour to get there. Here's a still shot of that river alongside of the river. This is a jungle part of it. Almost all of the vegetation you see there are mangroves, which are really important for the habitats and for the well-being of the natural environment there. But there also were quite a few palm oil palm plantations as well. I don't know who lives here, but quite a life, huh? Gilligan's Island, right there. And then we went from the river and we actually went out into the ocean. So here we are on the ocean. There's an offshore island, a little island there. And here we are unloading, getting off of the boat. So you can see that one's a little bit bigger than the other one I showed you. And these are some of the students disembarking. This was the hotel we stayed at. This is the only hotel I actually took a picture of because it was so spectacular, with just beautiful grounds, very nice, cozy cabins basically that we stayed in while we were there. And again, this is in Drake Bay, Bahia de Drake. And Drake is, you can get there by road, but it takes many, many hours and needs to be high clearance vehicle and ready to deal with muddy, rutted roads on the way to get there. But they also have an airport there as well. So there's a lot of people, wealthy people who have second homes, third homes, fourth homes, I'm not sure, in this beautiful town called Drake. We had a little kayaking trip. Some of you are familiar with my wife. She's leading the way, and one of the students there. Got to see a beautiful sunset from the ocean on kayaks. Then we took a boat from Drake to a little farther down on the Osa Peninsula to the Parque Corcovado. And we were at a place called San Pedrillo in that place. Here's a map of the national park. Again, here's the Osa Peninsula. Here's an overview of the Costa Rica and part of Panama. There's the Osa Peninsula right there. And that's Dulce and her sister Serena right there, other students. This is Sadie. Sadie was our Costa Rican guide, knew a lot of natural history and cultural history. And she's been doing this for many, many years. And she's actually semi-retired, but she likes working with Heather so much that she agreed to come out of retirement a little bit to help out. That tree that she's next to is called a zapatero, which means a shoemaker. There's another photograph of that. For those of you who absolutely need to know more, it's in the genus Hieronyma alcorneodes, zapatero, shoemaker. And then this is a different tree. That's a ficus, so it's a fig. And this is a type of strangler fig. Strangler figs, if you're familiar with them, form many, many what are called aerial roots. They're basically stems that go from the top of the tree and hang down. And when they hit the soil, they form roots. So they're often referred to as aerial roots, even though they don't form the roots until they get to the ground. Some of you are familiar with New Zealand Christmas tree. It does the same thing, Metrosideos. Yeah. And that's the woman there in front of us is one of our guides with her spotting scope. And there's our other guide right there. That's Faustino. And there's a coconut seedling. So a coconut that had washed up on the beach and is now sprouted. Not a palm oil coconut, pretty sure. It's a coconut palm. This is a passion flower. And here's another passion flower. Beautiful. This looks like some sort of a green fungus, like a shelf fungus, but it turns out this is actually a lichen. This is Cynogonium linckii, and I couldn't find a common English name for that, but it's a really beautiful green lichen. This is a fungus. This is a Hymenocete microcycla, also without an English common name. This one does have a common name. This is an English name. This is bristly tropical cup called Cuciana tricoloma. Really beautiful. And maybe really hard for you to see on your screen, but these are have like little eyelashes that surround the rim of the cup of this ascomycete fungus. There's another, looks like a mycena. It turns out that that's actually a Coprinellus, a totally different thing than I thought, but coating this this log, just beautiful, beautiful fungi there. All right. Maybe you recognize this if you've been to the tropics. So that is a big mass, maybe twice the size of a rugby ball, and stuck up in a tree. Sometimes they're higher, sometimes lower. And you can see this dark trail coming down here. This is an arboreal termite. And so they form these nests out of macerated wood pulp that they chew themselves. And they get that wood from some other tree, usually, and they make this trail. You can see it going over here down to the ground. And they basically go out, gather wood and wood bits, and bring it back to build the nest. And so these can be even much significantly larger than we see the one here. There's a pug-nosed anole, a little lizard, blending in with the tree. Now, this is the best shot I got. I apologize, but if you look right here, right there, you can see 3 toes, long claws, actually. This is a 3-toed sloth. This is the sort of the mascot of Costa Rica. You can buy T-shirts and stickers and mugs and all kinds of stuff with sloths on them. This is an amazing arboreal anteater called a tamandua. Now let me orient you here. This is the tail up here. It's an anteater that has a prehensile tail, so it can literally hang. Here's its rear legs, front legs there, and its snout is actually behind this branch here, but you can see its ears sort of sticking out. So it's facing downward. It was difficult to photograph because it pretty much took off as soon as it saw us, but it's really great, beautiful little anteater down there. Lots of other monkeys. So we had the white-faced capuchin, but in the jungle in Corcovado, there were a lot more of the squirrel monkeys. And so here's a squirrel monkey showing off his brachiating skills of hanging on using its front legs, front arms, and its tail. These are cool. These are tent making bats. And there's 2 of them there. And basically what they do is they find a palm. This is a palm leaf, and they chew along the midrib of that leaf, and it causes the leaf to collapse like this. And then they hang out inside of there. And our guides knew what to look for. So they were able to show us this pair of tent making bats. Uroderma bilobatum. There you go. And then here's some more coatis, just a few of them. So this was apparently a family group. Only a part of them. There are about 20 of them making their way through the forest, turning over leaves and logs and looking for invertebrates and other goodies to eat. All right, now onto a few birds. This is called a great curassow. It's a member of the family that includes chickens and turkeys and pheasants and peacocks and so on. And it's big. It's big as a good-sized turkey. It has that beautiful knob, yellow knob on its bill. And these make a horrific racket in the woods. There's some scarlet macaws flying over. This was really scarlet macaws are pretty iconic there. They were actually pretty at risk for a while in Costa Rica until there was a very successful PR campaign, and now they're not nearly as at risk as they used to be, and pretty common. See them a lot there. This is called an orange-collared manakin. And manakins, this is a male. Manakins are well known for their displays, and what they do is they do this in a lek, L-E-K, lek. And what a lek is where all of the males and females that are of mating disposition come together in a single place. The males do a little dance, and the females pick the males that they think did the best dance. You may be familiar with this concept with sage grouse and other members of the grouse group. And so again, the males will display, females will choose the mates. So this is a still photograph, and then what I want you to do is to keep your eye on that little orange patch right there. That's the orange collar of this this mannequin. And I believe you can hear this too. So listen for a little click, and that's the sound using its wings that this bird makes. And you'll see it dancing around. Whoops. You see it dancing around in the woods here. Oh, sorry. Pretty fun to watch. All right, then we loaded up the boat, or at least the hotel staff loaded up the boat. We got ourselves on the boat. Hotel staff loaded these. It's hard to see, but there's a, oh, I have this as a video here. So these young men grabbed our suitcases and waiting for the right moment, run out there and put them in the boat so they don't get wet. All right, our next, so we stayed 2 days in Bahia de Draque, and then we went to the town of Uvita, which is roughly where that circle is. And as part of our time there, we went to the Nayuyaka waterfall. And we could have hiked there, but instead we took this great vehicle here. It's a tractor pulling a trailer with all of us in the trailer. So that was a pretty fun way to get there. Beautiful, beautiful waterfall. You can see a lot of people there. It's a pretty popular place. And there's two tiers of the water coming down, two falls back to back. Very beautiful. And beautiful jungle there too. This is a Ganoderma species, I do believe. And then this is a mushroom called Trametes elegans. I've turned this one over so you can see that it has like a maze-like surface, fertile surface where the spores are developed. These are Xylaria. They're a type of ascomycete. If you've heard of dead man's fingers or carbon antlers, those are both also in the same genus, Xylaria, with an X. Maybe you recognize that. If you look at the leaves, are a little bit off center. They're not symmetrical. This is a begonia, a wild begonia. Really beautiful little thing by the falls. This is a member of the same family that includes corn lilies, corpse flower, that group. This is called a Rhoda spatha, and it makes these vines, beautiful vines. There's a Nisodesmus flat-backed millipede. This thing was about 2.5, 3 inches long. All right, I have a little video here, so watch very carefully. In fact, we may look at this one twice, but there's a little ant going out to the tip, and another one, and they disappear in there. So this plant is called bullhorn acacia, and you can see there's two horns. They look like bullhorns, and they're hollow. And it turns out the ants live in there. These are called the domatia, plural domatia. And the plant actually evolved the ability to have a have these ants live inside of its these structures that are at the tips of branches. Why, you ask? Well, it's to prevent herbivory. So if something were to come along and start munching on the leaves of this acacia, the ants would swarm out of their domatia and go and chase that thing away. When I took that little video, I had to be very careful not to bump up against that tree, or I would regret the movement. That's for sure. Look at it one more time. Watch out at the tip out here. There goes the ant, and then it goes into a hole on the other side that you can't quite see. While I was out there, I heard these birds singing everywhere. Those little Tweety birds, and I was looking everywhere. I couldn't find them. I couldn't see where they were. Finally, I figured out it was this little frog. Whoop, sorry. It's this little frog right here. This is called a Talamanca rocket frog, Alobates talamancae, and they were everywhere. They're not very big, only about a centimeter big, but they were everywhere through the woods there. I did see this one. This is a male scarlet-rumped tanager. Very beautiful, beautiful bird. Very common as well. Talk about beautiful birds. We got great looks at the yellow-throated toucans that were everywhere throughout our trip in that part of Costa Rica. Then finally, our last sort of adventure was to go out to Isla del Caño, which is roughly where the circle is, just off the coast of Draque, but we went there from Uvita. Another really beautiful place. Really enjoyed going out there. That the activity to do there was snorkeling. So you can see a couple of boats here, and then you can see a bunch of people in the water. Those are snorkelers, tourists. Each of these boats would be carrying the gear and the people out to the island. We did see some turtles. Some of our folks saw a shark, but there were lots of saltwater fish feeding in the coral and the rocks around there. Really nice little adventure. No photographs. This is a moss. This is Octoblepharum albidum, white Octoblepharum moss. And I don't know what the octo part is. Maybe octopus. I don't know. Another little video, so watch carefully. Don't miss it. Yep. That's a hermit crab. That's an Ecuadorian hermit crab in a shell that's a little too small for the young fella. There we go. Some of you may recognize this. Maybe if you've been to the tropics, you might even have seen this. This is a basilisk lizard. This is a young one. They have another common name, and that is the Jesus Christ lizard. And that's because you can see these toes are very, very long, nice flat feet there. They can literally run across the surface of water for quite a distance. And they're very, very cool lizard to see. And on our way back, we did see this pair of mother with calf humpback whales. So that was pretty cool as well. And this is our final night in Costa Rica. It's from a beautiful viewpoint overlooking the city. Those bright lights and red lights there, that's the road going up to this restaurant where we had our last meal before heading home. For most people headed home. Sorry, I didn't mean to get that in there. Sorry. Okay, there, better. Geez, Louise. Anyway, so the students and the other people who were on the tour went on home. They went back to California. My wife and I proceeded to go to Bogota, Colombia, where we have some close friends that live there. And since Bogota, I mean, Costa Rica and Colombia are so close together, we couldn't pass up the chance to take an extra little trip to Bogota. This river right here, I believe, is the Magdalena River. Not real sure. Magdalena is one of the two rivers that go from south to north in between three mountain ranges. I'm just going to orient you a little bit with this map, and then I'm going to show you one other one to illustrate that. Bogota, which used to be called Santa Fe de Bogota, but Bogota is an indigenous Muisca word. Muisca is the indigenous peoples of that area. And the Santa Fe part, which means holy faith, means that is a sort of a throwback to the colonial days. Interestingly, Colombia changed, when the colonial days were pretty much over, they changed it from Santa Fe de Bogota to just Bogota. And then they changed it back in 1991 to Santa Fe de Bogota. And it took them 9 years to realize that that's not really PC to have your city named from the colonial times. So they went back to just Bogota, which is again an indigenous Muisca word. Just a couple of other things I want to show you. So here's Panama up here, and this area right through here is a roadless area, and that's the Darien Gap. So you may have heard about the Darien Gap as a one of the ways that people migrated. It doesn't happen so much anymore because of the politics of the situation, but a lot of people pass through the Darien Gap on foot, going from South America to the United States eventually. So here is a relief map of Colombia, and you can see that here's the Andes in Ecuador. And if you follow the Andes north from Ecuador into Colombia, you see that the Andes basically split into three cordilleras, or cordillera is mountain range. So this right here is Cordillera Oriental. This is Cordillera Central. You can kind of see some snow there. And then that's actually representing elevation, and it's not snow. And then this is Cordillera Occidental. So the western mountain range, the central one, and the eastern one. And there's rivers that flow in between these mountain ranges. So this is the Valle de Magdalena. Magdalena River runs through there. Over here is the Valle de Cauca, and the Cauca River runs through there. This part of Colombia is mostly plains called the Llanos, and this corner of and southern part of Colombia and southeast part is the Amazon rainforest. But we were just in Bogota, and so this is from the plane arriving into Bogota. Bogota is a pretty crazy place to drive, so I was really quite honored when my friend gave me the keys to his car. And so this is me driving through there. This is stopped at a stoplight. And I would say about half of the vehicles on the road are motorcycles. And whenever they stop at a stop sign or stoplight, all the motorcycles go to the front. And then when the stoplight turns, they all go. I thought I had this as a video, but I don't. But anyway, it's quite adventurous to be a driver in Bogota. Uh, we So in Bogota, like in many cities around the world, they have a law where they reduce the traffic that's on the roads based on your license plate number. So they every other day they'd have even if you can drive when there you have an even plate number, and then the next day you can drive only if you have an odd plate number, the last number of the license plate, and so it switches off. And so I was had Jose David's car 2 days. One of those days, we drove up just out of town to the north, and this is the countryside of Bogota, just outside. Really beautiful rolling hills, big escarpments, nice mountain ranges, beautiful plants. So this is Myconia squamulosa, which is a member of the sorry, senior moment. Some of you are familiar with Tibucina, the princess flower. There's a lot of it planted around San Francisco. It has a big, beautiful purple flower. That family is the family that this plant is in. I'll think of it in a minute. This is closely related to um, uh, to I guess I'm having a more of a senior citizen, a senior moment here. I can't even speak anymore. Tragopanthus. This is close to that's not right. Tradescantia. It's close to Tradescantia. Beautiful thing called the Tripogandra. And this is a really cool plant. This is has long flowers. They're about 4 inches, 5 inches long, and you'll see them in the trees. And this is a parasite, much like mistletoe. It's not related to mistletoe, but it has the same kind of habit where it grows on the branches of trees. So all the green stuff there is the host tree, and then the red that's hanging down are the flowers of this parasite. Really cool. So on the day that we didn't have the car, we went to the Jardín Botánico de Bogotá, the botanical garden in Bogotá. It's really well done, really nicely put together. This is actually in the garden. So this is from a little viewpoint looking into a wooded part of the garden. The most recent addition and certainly a highlight of the garden is the Tropicarium. So this is a beautiful building that's been built, I think maybe they finished in 2022 or 2023, something like that. And it's full of just all kinds of beautiful tropical plants. This is inside now. This is a silver vase plant, Acmea fasciata. Victoria lily pads. This is some of you may recognize this as crown of thorns, but look at the size of the blossoms on that thing. This is Euphorbia millii. And then that's a Stapelia. Stapelia smell like rotting meat, and they're pollinated by flies that think that they're, and that thing is this big. So some of you may be familiar with Stapelias that you can purchase around here in the in exotic plant shops and so on, but they have a flower that's about that big. This one has a giant flower. This is Stapelia gigantea. Good name for it. This is coffee. Some of you may have never seen coffee flowers before. Really beautiful aromatic flowers. This is a plant flower called Stromanthe jacquinii. This is a heliconia venusta in this case, sometimes called the lobster claw plant. Very big collection of those that they have there. And then this is Guzmania. Guzmania coriostachya. It's a monocot. They have a farm area where they grow plants that are traditionally grown in Costa Rica. In Colombia. There's Annie holding up a big onion. Oh, and they have these crazy insectivorous plants. There's a heliamphora, and there's a Darlingtonia. They grow them big down there. I had to tell Annie to be careful not to fall into that thing. And they also have displays on mushrooms. Fantastic. That's enlightened. That's what I say. And pretty cool birds in the Botanic Garden too. So this is an American purple gallinule. Some of you may recognize this bird. It's found throughout California and all of the Americas, actually. This is the pied-billed grebe. This is called a great thrush, relative of our robin, but bigger. And this is an eared dove. So the third day that we were there, we were able to use Jose David's car once again, and we went to Parque Nacional Naturalmente de Chingaza, which, by the way, is a swear word in Mexico, but not in Colombia. So we went up to Chingaza. We were able to get a guide who took a picture of Annie and me and our two best friends. And here we are at Chingaza. To give you an idea of where it is, here's Bogotá. And then this dark outline right here is again, the Parque Nacional Natural Chingaza. And we were up in this part of the park. They have these beautiful illustrated signs that are made out of metal, and it's kind of hard to see this, but if you look, you can see that this part, that part, and that part are cutouts of this sign. I just thought that was really, really amazing. This means the forest, and so there's a little interpretation about the trees that are up there, and so on. Now, this particular part of the Andes, it stretches out throughout the Andes, is high, very high elevation. It's called the páramo, and páramo is characterized by having shrubby habitat, shrubby but dense habitat, and has very, very unique plants that grow there. This, by the way, is a sacred lake, sacred to the indigenous peoples there. This is called Lago Seicha, and there are three of these lakes in this area that we hiked up to. So let me show you some of the plants that are found there. This is a sphagnum moss, called a white moss, sphagnum moss. The brown leaves that are up at the top there are probably about an inch long or so to give you scale. This is a fern called deer's tongue. Love that. This is an orchid. This is Epidendrum zipicirarium. I have to practice that for next time. The Zipacaria orchid. Really, I mean, beautiful and very common throughout there. This is a cool plant called Papalanthus alpinus, and these pieces right here will actually break off and roll down a hill and actually help with propagation, asexual propagation of these plants. This is a puya. If you know anything about puyas, they are vicious. They will bite you. And in fact, if you look carefully, you can see that the thorns on the edges of the leaves here point downward down here, but as you go out toward the tips, it's a little hard to see, they start to point upward. So if you get into one of these things, you definitely get cut up. They're pretty vicious. This is a Agrotina vaccinifolium in the composite family, Asteraceae. Beautiful. Oh, I remember the family that last one is. This is related to Tibicina as well. This is Melianthiaceae. No, sorry, Melastomataceae. I'll get it right one of these days. This is called Monochaetum. Beautiful. This is another member of the Asteraceae. This is a Senecio. You may know this one. This is what do they call it? Grape hyacinth. That's what they call it. Monina, and it's native there. This is a really cool thing. This is another parasite. It looks a lot like oak mistletoe, right? With the leaves basically the same size and shape. And there it is in fruit. So you can see these are some fruits right there. But rather than being green, it's this beautiful bronze color. That's the way it grows. And then there's Espletia. Espletia is the genus that's most sort of characteristic of the páramo. This is Espletia grandiflora. It's one of 4 species that we saw out there. This day that we were there was really unusual. Usually at this elevation, it's misty, overcast, little windy sometimes a lot windy. It's not really hospitable territory. So we were really lucky to have the beautiful blue skies with wispy cirrus clouds. But anyway, these Espletia plants have the nickname frailejones. And what that means is basically friars. And so it was nicknamed because on these typical misty days, you would see these plants like you can see some here on the horizon that look like people with a hood on. They look like monks, look like friars, and that's where they get the nickname. This is Espletia uribe. Espletia uribe grows really tall. So those are about 30 feet tall, some of the big ones there. And then this is Espletia kilipi. Beautiful. This is what the flowers look like. So they're members of the Asteraceae, so they're composites. And with the grandiflora, which this is actually a different one, Argentea, the silver one, but grandiflora, they get to be about hockey puck size, something like that. And then here's one more. This is also grandiflora, Espletia, really nice plant. And then we saw some things that were not plants. So here's a lichen called Hippotrachina. Here's another beautiful orange lichen called the orange boulder lichen. This actually occurs in North America as well. It's called Porphyria flavicunda. And then there was some mammals. This is a guinea pig. So guinea pigs are native there and actually considered to be quite the delicacy as well. Frankly, I haven't had guinea pig yet, but I'm going to go back. So what the heck? Now I want to introduce you to one of the place in Bogota that we went to when we didn't have a car, and that is Monserrate. Monserrate is a mountain that's in Bogota. This is a tramway that you can take. They also have a funicular that goes up there. And it's really beautiful, beautiful view of the city. And also it has, being a Christian country, it has a beautiful pathway that's the Stations of the Cross. Oh, there we go. I forgot this is a video. There goes the tram. Good enough. You get the idea. This is this is a chap. Sorry, this is a restaurant down here. Over there is the main church. You can get a ride over there on a tram, and then that white person right there, the white statue, is the Virgen de Guadalupe, the Virgin Mary, overlooking the city. There's the Bogotá down there. We went to this place called the Sendero de Paramuno. And the Sendero de Paramuno is put together by this guy right here. I forgot his name. Actually, I have it, Luis. So Luis put this together, and it's basically a hummingbird sanctuary. And I just want to show you this video quickly here. So these are white-bellied wood stars. I zoom in on them a little bit. Really beautiful. The hummingbirds in Colombia are just fantastic. Great colors, beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to zoom ahead a little bit here. There. That's the white-bellied wood star. Okay. This is a sparkling violet ear. This one's a blue-throated star frontlet. It's the other thing about hummingbirds. They have great names. This is a coppery bellied puff leg. So that white there is actually a bunch of feathers on its legs. This is a great one. The shining sunbeam is what this one's called. This is big for one of the bigger hummingbirds, but not as big as this one. This is the great sapphire wing. Really amazing things. And then there's some things there that are not hummingbirds. This is a red-tailed squirrel, thinking it can get away with drinking the nectar out of the hummingbird feeders. And there's a few other things as well. So this is a rufous-collared sparrow, very common throughout Central and Southern America and South America. This is a masked flower piercer. All right, so now in order to get back to San Francisco, we had to fly back to San Jose. So this is my cue to show that we're headed that way. This is actually in Panama. This is the Golfo de Montijo in Panama on the Pacific coast. And here we are coming back into San Jose. And I just want to show you the last thing we did before we headed home. And I'm going to finish a little tiny bit late, but not too bad. We went to a butterfly farm. And you've probably been to these before. Like the Conservatory of Flowers has these butterfly exhibits every once in a while. And there's lots of them around. And this was really cool because it had an indoor area and an outdoor area. But I want to show you some of the butterflies we saw. This is called the blue wave butterfly, Mycelia cyaniris. Some of you may know this one. This is the blue Morpho Hellenor Pleiades. And guess what? That's the same butterfly, same species anyway, maybe a different individual. So again, that's what it looks like on the top. That's what it looks like on the bottom. Really cool. This is another popular one to have in these butterfly gardens, butterfly farms. This is called a malachite, really beautiful green, glowing green on it. And then this is called the small postman. And this is the rusty tipped page. One of the cool plants they had in there was this one. This is the Strongylodon macrobotrys, called the jade vine. And that's the real color. Just fabulous. You don't see that color very often. The bills of ruddy ducks is the only thing I can think of. This is related to, if you're familiar with Thunbergia, related to Thunbergia. And then this is cool. So that's about that big around at the entrance. This is an Aristolochia, the pipe vine. This is Aristolochia grandiflora. And we have this in the San Francisco State greenhouse that blooms about once a year. And it's always a real popular showpiece. But here we were able to find them in nature. And then, like I say, there was some outdoor space. This is a really classic bird called a kiskadee, and that's an onomatopoeia. Uh, it says its name when it's singing. And finally, we left the next day, headed for home. This is the volcanoes in Mexico. This is Ixtaquihuatl and Popocatépetl volcanoes from the plain. And then some of you have traveled to Copper Canyon region in Mexico. This is what it looks like from the air. And I finished in time. Look at that. All right. This is my last slide. So I can now take a few questions. Mila, do you want to jump in and give me some time constraints?
Ah, okay. So this is okay. Let me have a quick look. This all has to do with the snafu. Okay, so basically, folks, come on. Well, JR, what I'm curious about is how in the world do you know all the plants that are in Colombia and Costa Rica and all the, you seem to be able to roll all the names off your tongue, and yet, I
Well,
mean, we don't have these tropical plants here.
yeah, well, I cheat.
Aha.
Yeah, so that's what I use AI for identifying plants. And then I have in the presenter view, I have them written down. So so I cheat. I
Do
don't have
you,
all those memorized.
do you have field guides that you take with you when you travel?
Not necessarily. Sometimes I use, especially with birds, they have some pretty good field guides that you can put on your phone, some apps, basically. For example, let me
Little
show
Sibley,
you one.
except World Sibley.
Yeah. So so anyway, that's I don't know if you can see that, but that's the birds of Colombia. Uh,
Ah,
so so I don't have a plant one for Colombia, but a lot of those I know from the greenhouse actually. So Aristolochia grandiflora, for example, and
the greenhouse at San Francisco State
yeah,
University.
yeah, yeah. So there's actually a quite nice collection of tropical plants in that greenhouse. So yeah, some of them I know, most of them I cheat.
Is it possible to what one requires to make an appointment?
So you can contact me and I can show you, I can find out if the manager will be around. He needs to open the place. But you can go there anytime, actually. So for those of you familiar with San Francisco State, it's behind Thornton and Hensel Hall, near between there and Stonestown Mall. So you can go there anytime and you can peek in the windows. Um, but if the manager's around, he's very generous with his time. His name is Elliot.
Grantham?
No, Martin Grantham was the former manager. He's moved north. He lives up in Humboldt, I think. Um,
Ah, yeah,
uh,
because
El-
we saw some of the plants there when he was there,
yeah,
but
yeah,
we haven't been in since.
yeah, yeah. So now it's Elliot live in, and Elliot is very generous. Yeah,
Oh, well,
and
that's
and
super.
if you want to go there and I can show you around, but I don't have a key.
Okay, so we need to get permission to come in. All
Yeah.
right. All right. Yeah, that would be great. So let's see if anyone has come up with some questions. Monique is saying thank you very much. And the UGR set up tours for regular folks.
Well,
You're drumming up business here.
well,
Yeah.
being an irregular folk, uh, yeah, sure. So Irene, if you're interested. So uh, I assume you're talking about the greenhouse. And if you are talking about the greenhouse, we just have to arrange schedules, and I can show you that. Um, I do other things. So, for example, I do natural history walks for the park, for San Pedro Valley County Park, on a fairly regular basis. So that's a tour that regular folk join. Oh, okay. Um, oh no, I don't do tours of other countries. Um, yeah, that's too much work.
And who has that project at San Francisco State now? You were mentioning Martha?
No, her name's Heather.
Heather.
Yeah, Heather Murdoch. Heather
Oh,
Murdoch.
she's doing them.
She's.
Yeah,
Do you know Heather?
I've heard of her and I spoke with her because we were thinking, Adrian and I were thinking of joining her with on one of the trips, but we never. It seemed to be well. It went to Europe, and it just seemed too mouvementé,
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much to do, and
right.
I need a more leisurely pace.
Yeah. So the tours that Heather does again are through a company that that's their business, is to do these student tours. It's called Explorica. And so essentially what Heather's job is to recruit people to go on the tour. She is going to do one more, and that's it. And that's in June. uh,
Uh-huh.
June or July. I'm pretty sure it's in June, and it's to Costa Rica. I may or may not go. I haven't decided yet. Um,
The same type of trip that you went
same,
on.
same, very similar trip. Maybe a little different itinerary. Sometimes she plays around with that, but yeah. So there's one more trip to Costa Rica, and
We've been.
if you
We've
would
been
like me,
we've been with Caravan, but we'd love to go on something like this
yeah,
because I mean, we saw a huge amount of wildlife, but
yeah,
here you're seeing parts of Costa Rica that we had never saw.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's very nice. Usually my wife and I are independent travelers, so we set up um, uh, our own accommodations and transportation and that sort of thing. Sometimes we also go on tours. So, like for example, the tour to Chingaza, we had to have a guide, is required. So we arranged for a guide and so on. But this going on this Explorica tour was, we didn't have to think about anything. But
Yeah.
sometimes that's not
That's
good.
helpful. Yeah, that's very helpful sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's what we need. Yeah, we
yeah,
need someone to hold us by the hand and
yeah,
say,
yeah,
we're
that's right.
going here and we're
That's
going
right.
to transport you there.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
that
Be
helps a
back at the
lot.
bus in 30 minutes.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's
yes.
it.
We were just on one trip like that
Yeah.
to the thank goodness before the government shut down. We managed to get to the three national parks to see Sedona, to see Arizona, to see Vegas, to see Grand
Oh,
Canyon,
very
and,
cool.
and
Yeah.
it was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and when we got back shortly afterwards, the good old government decided to shut down. And I'm going, we are so lucky we
Well,
managed to get on, to go when we did.
well, I just did that too. My wife and I went to the Southwest, and this is FYI for everybody who's still listening. The all the parks are the big parks. So Yosemite, Grand Canyon, um, and I can't think of any others right off the top of my head. All the southern Utah parks, Zion, Capitol Reef, Arches. Those are, you can just go in without paying. But the downside is that uh,
Accommodation,
there's no visitor centers open. Yeah.
but you can
Welcome,
still stay.
Gene. I'm sorry.
You can still stay somewhere. You
You
can.
know, we didn't look into that because we stayed outside the parks. But
Uh-huh.
if I think if you already have reservations, yes, you can camp there in those places. So and a lot of those camping setups are from outside companies.
Yeah.
Like in Yosemite, it was curry, and then it was something else, and now it's back to curry. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah, they've been switching names back and forth. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So you can still stay in Yosemite by going through Curry, but not through anything that requires the national park staff to be there. So
Mm.
visitor center entrance fees are not being taken. There are closed bathrooms, for example. We ran into that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I
there's
think it's going to get more and more problematic as time goes on, though.
could be, yeah.
Yeah. So let me just check Q&A for a sec, just in case there's someone else.
Looks like that's it.
Can we have the slideshow back? Well, you will have the slideshow back when we have it posted, Vernon. At the moment, we're finishing up here, but you will have it where you can view it from the beginning and see it. Let me just this doesn't want to work for some. Okay, here. So, okay.
Uh-oh.
Well, I think some of the photos became smaller, but I don't know whether that was the way you set it up or not.
Oh, I'm sorry that we didn't catch that earlier. Okay.
So yeah, we seem to have dropped out of full screen. Yeah, but you had several photos. So anyway, um,
So I'm going to just put in my phone number. So if anybody wants to come over to the greenhouse, if I'm available, then you can send me a text, and we can set up something.
yeah, that would be somehow it would be nice to maybe get everyone together instead of doing multiple ones, to somehow or other figure out how to do it in a group where we all drive, maybe not carpool, but at least get there and then have a tour.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
if you give us a day and time,
Uh-huh.
and maybe then,
Yeah.
and if they text you, maybe we can then, I
Right.
don't know, we've got to figure out a way of doing this,
Okay.
to be logistically concise so that we're not all over
Okay.
the map.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that
I'll
would
be
be
in touch.
great. Yeah. Okay, so folks, whoever's left and whoever wants to, we have JR willing and wanting to do the greenhouse tour at San Francisco State University. So Adrian and I are willing. So, but text him. He's giving you the number. Let me see if I can see it here and I can read it out. If you don't mind, JR.
I don't know.
Let me see. I don't see your number here. Jean Replicant says, count me in. And so, yes, we'll
Oh,
count you in.
it was an answer to Irene. So
To Irene,
let me,
why don't you just give out your phone number?
yeah. Okay. Everybody ready? 650-867-5954.
Okay. And this is not to bother JR about anything else, but this is about,
I don't
because
mind
I'm
being
sure you
bothered.
have lots of questions and things you want to ask him, but this is specifically about texting him for the tour of the greenhouse. JR is very busy, so we're not going to, impose on him with other things.
It's
So,
okay.
we will have a nature talk in on the 9th of November in the park at 10 o'clock, I believe. Yes.
Yes.
So, folks, we have about a limit of 15 people. It's not up on the Eventbrite yet. Adrian hasn't gotten around to that, but we do have that coming up. And it'll be in the newsletter too. So if you folks get the newsletter, well, there you have. You'll know all about it. So,
Great.
JR, thank you. And despite the snafu, it went beautifully. Thank you for a remarkable travelogue to
Thank you.
Costa Rica and Colombia, and to have shared it with you is a real privilege. So thank you.
You're welcome. Irene, you can contact me with that. So she asked who to contact. Yeah, I'll do the coordinating. So, okay.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah. Text JR. And we'll text JR and we'll all get together on a certain day. Hopefully we can all make it at the same day, on the same day at the same time.
Sounds good.
Okay. I
All right.
think we're going to call it quits and give JR a rest because he just came back from another huge trip
Yeah.
from the Southwest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All
And I'm
right.
jealous too because he saw where George O'Keeffe lived and painted, and I'm just green with envy.
That was
So there
great.
you go. Yep. Okay.
All right. Thanks,
Good
Mila.
night,
Thanks,
folks.
Adrian. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Until next month.
Bye, JR.
Cheerio.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, here we are.
Okay.